Did you know that a recent survey revealed nearly 70% of older adults admit they've lost friendships because of everyday habits they didn't even realize were annoying? That number should stop us in our tracks because it means many seniors are quietly pushing people away without knowing why. Today, I want to give you a gentle but urgent wake-up call. Some habits in old age may feel harmless or even part of our personality, but in reality, they can make others uncomfortable. The hardest part? Most people won't tell you directly. Instead, they smile politely, change the subject, or quietly distance themselves. That silence leaves many older adults feeling isolated, without understanding what went wrong. But here's the good news. Awareness changes everything. Once you know these habits, you can adjust them and rebuild warmer, stronger connections with family, friends, and your community. So stay with me, because today I'm going to walk you through 12 ugly habits in old age that make others uncomfortable but usually go unspoken. Before we begin, I'd love to know, where are you watching this video from, and what time of day is it for you? Please leave a comment below. I can't wait to hear from you. It's completely natural to want to share what's going on with your health, especially as we age. Doctor visits, new medications, aches and pains, these things often take up a big part of daily life. But here's the hidden problem. When conversations revolve too often around illnesses, it can unintentionally drain the energy of those listening. Think about it. Have you ever been at a family dinner or church gathering where someone went into great detail about their latest test results, surgeries, or symptoms? At first, people nod politely, showing empathy. But after the fifth or sixth time, they begin to look away, change the subject, or even avoid future conversations. Not because they don't care, but because constant talk about sickness makes them feel heavy and helpless. In fact, researchers have found that repeated negative health conversations increase social withdrawal in families and friendship groups, which can quietly lead to loneliness. That's the exact opposite of what older adults truly want: connection, love, and support. Here's a better way. Keep your health updates short and simple, then pivot to something uplifting. Instead of spending 15 minutes describing your back pain, try saying, "I've been dealing with some discomfort, but I'm grateful I was able to go for a walk this morning." Then shift the conversation toward hobbies, memories, or even asking others about their lives. This subtle change not only keeps people engaged, but also helps them see you as resilient, hopeful, and enjoyable to be around. Your health matters, but your presence, your stories, and your laughter matter even more. One of the most common habits that frustrates families, yet often goes unspoken, is when older adults interfere too much in the personal lives of their children or grandchildren. The intention usually comes from love, wisdom, and experience. You want the best for them. But in American culture, where independence and personal choice are highly valued, constant advice or involvement can feel like unwanted control. Picture this. Your daughter is raising her kids differently than you did, and you can't help but comment on bedtime routines, discipline, or even what they eat. Or maybe your grandson is dating someone you're not fond of, and you subtly drop hints about your disapproval. While you may believe you're helping, they may feel judged, pressured, or even resentful. Surveys show that nearly 60% of young adults feel their parents or grandparents overstep boundaries when it comes to lifestyle choices. And here's the danger: those feelings can build walls of distance in the relationship, leaving seniors puzzled about why their children seem to call less often. A better approach? Replace interference with curiosity. Instead of saying, "You should raise your kids this way," try asking, "How do you handle bedtime with the little ones?" I'd love to learn from your experience. This simple shift honors their autonomy while still allowing you to share wisdom when invited. By respecting boundaries and timing, you not only reduce tension, but also strengthen trust. Your children and grandchildren will see you as a supportive presence, not a critical overseer, and that's how bonds of love truly grow. Everyone complains from time to time. It's human nature. But when complaining becomes a daily habit, it can quietly poison relationships. Many older adults fall into this trap without realizing it, especially when life feels harder with age. Rising prices, chronic aches, noisy neighbors, or even the evening news, there's always something to grumble about. The problem isn't the issues themselves, but the frequency and tone. Constant negativity creates a heavy atmosphere that makes others want to escape. Imagine meeting a friend for coffee, hoping for laughter and light conversation, only to spend the whole hour listening to grievances about the weather, doctors, or politics. You leave the table drained, not uplifted. Research in psychology shows that repeated exposure to negative talk increases stress hormones in listeners, even if the problems don't directly affect them. That means your family and friends may start avoiding long conversations, not because they don't love you, but because it simply wears them down. So, what's the alternative? A powerful shift is turning complaints into stories or even humor. Instead of saying, "The prices at the grocery store are ridiculous," you could laugh and say, "I just paid more for a loaf of bread than I once did for a movie ticket." This keeps the tone light while still expressing your feelings. Complaints can either push people away or draw them closer, depending on how you frame them. When you choose humor, gratitude, or perspective, you keep your relationship strong and your company enjoyable. Listening is one of the simplest gifts we can give another person, yet it's often overlooked. Many older adults unintentionally dominate conversations, talking at length about their own stories, memories, or opinions, without realizing they've left little room for others to speak. While sharing life experiences is valuable, not listening can make family and friends feel invisible. Imagine your granddaughter excitedly telling you about her new job, only for you to interrupt with, "Back in my day, we worked twice as hard for half the pay." She smiles politely, but inside, she feels dismissed. Over time, repeated interruptions or lack of genuine listening can make younger generations stop sharing altogether. Studies in family communication reveal that people who feel consistently unheard are 40% less likely to initiate future conversations with that person. In other words, the less you listen, the less they'll want to talk. But here's the encouraging part. Being a good listener doesn't require silence, it requires attention. Simple actions like nodding, asking follow-up questions, or saying, "That sounds important to you, tell me more," show genuine care. When you practice what experts call active listening, people feel respected, valued, and safe opening up. The truth is, listening strengthens relationships more than talking ever could. Your wisdom is precious, but so is your ability to hear the voices of those you love. Sometimes, the most powerful words you can say are simply, "I'm listening." In many cultures, especially in earlier generations, neighbors dropped by unannounced, phone calls came at any hour, and privacy wasn't as guarded. But in modern American life, personal boundaries are deeply valued. When older adults forget this shift, it can unintentionally cause tension with children, grandchildren, and friends. Think of moments when you've stopped by your son's home without calling first, or dialed your granddaughter 3 times in a row when she didn't answer right away. While your intention may be love or concern, they may experience it as an invasion of their private space. They might not say anything, but internally they feel their independence is being disrespected. Research from family relationship studies shows that repeated boundary violations, even small ones, are one of the top reasons adult children limit contact with parents and grandparents. It's not about rejection. It's about needing breathing room. The solution is simple yet powerful. Ask permission before stepping in. Send a quick text, "Is this a good time to call?" or schedule visits in advance. These small gestures communicate respect and acknowledgement of their autonomy. When you honor boundaries, you actually strengthen closeness. Your family feels safe knowing you value their space, and as a result, they'll be more eager to spend time with you. Respecting privacy doesn't distance relationships, it protects them. Money has always been a sensitive subject, and in older age, it often becomes a bigger part of daily conversations. Some seniors, out of habit or worry, constantly point out high prices, complain about wastefulness, or insist on the cheapest option every time. Others may swing in the opposite direction, casually bragging about savings, pensions, or investments. While both attitudes are understandable, they can unintentionally create discomfort in social settings. Picture a family outing where everyone is enjoying a meal, but the conversation keeps circling back to, "Do you know how much cheaper this was in 1975?" Or, "Back when I was your age, I could buy a house for what you're paying in rent." While true, these comments often feel like criticism, leaving younger family members frustrated or even guilty. On the other hand, talking too much about financial success can make others feel inadequate, especially if they're struggling. A national survey on intergenerational communication found that over 55% of young adults report feeling pressured or judged when older relatives bring up money during casual conversations. That tension can quietly push people away, even when no harm is intended. The healthier approach? Share financial wisdom with humility and purpose. Instead of lecturing or boasting, offer tips when asked, or tell stories about how you manage through tough times with creativity and resilience. This shifts the focus from judgment to encouragement. Your experience with money is valuable, but how you share it determines whether people walk away inspired or uncomfortable. By choosing encouragement over criticism, you leave behind not just wealth, but wisdom that strengthens family ties. Technology can feel overwhelming, especially if you didn't grow up with smartphones, tablets, or social media. Many older adults shrug it off by saying, "I don't need all that," or "the old ways were better." While those feelings are understandable, constantly rejecting technology can create distance between you and your loved ones. Think about your grandchildren. Their world revolves around texting, video calls, and apps. When you refuse to join in, even in simple ways like answering a FaceTime call, it can make them feel like connecting with you is harder than it should be. Over time, they may stop trying as often, not because they don't love you, but because the effort feels one-sided. Research shows that grandparents who engage with technology are 35% more likely to have regular weekly contact with their grandchildren compared to those who avoid it. That's a huge difference, and it highlights how even a small step like learning to send an emoji or check photos on a phone can bridge generations. The truth is, you don't need to master every gadget. You only need to be open to trying. Ask your children or grandchildren to show you one simple skill at a time, and let them be your teachers. Not only does this make communication easier, but it also creates moments of bonding, laughter, and mutual respect. By softening your resistance, you're not giving up the old ways. You're simply adding new tools to stay close to the people you love most. As people age, it's natural to carry strong opinions about values, traditions, and how life should be. But when those opinions turn into frequent criticism, they can hurt relationships more than help them. Older adults sometimes forget how powerful their words sound to younger ears, especially when comments feel harsh or dismissive. Picture this. Your granddaughter shows up with a new hairstyle, and you immediately say, "That looks strange on you." Or your grandson proudly shares his tattoo, only to hear, "Why would you ruin your skin like that?" While you may see these as harmless observations, to them, it feels like rejection of their identity. Over time, these small judgments pile up, leaving them reluctant to share their lives with you. A recent survey of American families found that 42% of young adults avoid certain topics with their elders because they fear judgment or criticism. That silence leads to distance, not closeness. Instead of judging, try shifting to curiosity. Replace, "I don't understand why you do that," with, "Tell me what that means to you." By asking questions, you show respect, even if you don't agree. This creates an opening for genuine conversation instead of shutting it down. The truth is, Your loved ones don't expect you to approve of everything. They simply want to feel accepted and safe around you. A little kindness in your words can go further than a lifetime of opinions. Telling stories is a wonderful way to share wisdom, preserve family history, and keep memories alive. But when the same story is told again and again, it can unintentionally test the patience of loved ones. Many seniors don't even realize they've repeated themselves. They're simply eager to connect. Imagine sitting at a holiday dinner and hearing Uncle Joe retell the same fishing story for the 10th time. At first, everyone laughs politely, but by the fifth retelling, smiles become forced and eyes start to wander. The story itself isn't the problem, it's the repetition. Researchers studying memory and aging note that older adults are more likely to repeat stories due to natural changes in short-term recall, but they also emphasize that listeners often interpret repetition as a lack of awareness or sensitivity. This misinterpretation can quietly erode respect and patience within families. There are ways to handle this without silencing yourself. One helpful strategy is to keep a memory journal. Write down meaningful stories so you can choose fresh ones to share each time. Another option is to involve others in the story. Instead of retelling the fishing trip again, ask, "Do you remember what happened that day?" This turns repetition into shared laughter rather than quiet irritation. Stories are treasures, but variety keeps them golden. By being mindful of how often you revisit the same tale, you keep your audience engaged and your stories cherished instead of tolerated. Wanting things done the right way is a natural instinct, especially after decades of experience. But when older adults try to control every detail of family life, it can leave children and grandchildren feeling suffocated. What feels like guidance to you may feel like micromanagement to them. Consider a family dinner where you insist on choosing the menu, directing how dishes should be cooked, and even telling everyone where to sit. Or think about your adult child choosing a career path, only to hear, "That's not practical, you should do something else." These comments may come from love, but they signal a lack of trust in their ability to make decisions. Studies in family psychology show that perceived over-control by parents and grandparents is one of the leading causes of conflict in intergenerational relationships. The more people feel controlled, the more they pull away to reclaim independence. Here's the shift. Move from control to support. Instead of dictating, offer guidance gently. "Here's what worked for me. Would you like to hear about it?" By framing advice as an option, not a command, you respect their autonomy while still sharing your wisdom. It also helps to pick your battles. Not every detail needs your input. Sometimes, stepping back allows family members to grow stronger and more confident. Paradoxically, the less you control, the more influence you actually keep, because your words are heard as guidance, not orders. True leadership in a family isn't about directing every move. It's about inspiring trust, offering wisdom, and allowing loved ones to make their own path while knowing you'll be there to support them. As we age, taking care of personal appearance and hygiene can become more challenging. Limited mobility, health issues, or even mild forgetfulness may make grooming feel like a burden. Yet when hygiene is neglected, whether it's skipping showers, wearing stained clothes, or ignoring dental care, it can create discomfort for others, even if they never say a word. Picture attending a church service or family gathering where someone hasn't bathed in days or is wearing the same unwashed outfit. People may still greet them warmly, but behind the smiles there's unease. The truth is, body odor or unkempt appearance often pushes people away not because they want to, but because it's hard to be around. Medical studies show that poor hygiene in older adults is one of the most common reasons for social withdrawal and even unspoken family tension. It's rarely discussed openly, but it silently damages relationships. The good news is that small routines can make a huge difference. Setting reminders, preparing clean clothes in advance, or asking for a little assistance from a trusted family member can help maintain dignity and comfort. Many communities also offer senior services that provide support for grooming and hygiene. It's not about vanity, it's about self-respect and the message you send to others. When you take pride in your appearance, people feel more at ease around you. More importantly, you feel better about yourself, which boosts confidence and mood. Good hygiene is a silent form of love for yourself and for those who cherish being near you. Talking about mortality is natural as we get older. But when conversations constantly circle back to death, dying, or hopelessness, it can cast a heavy shadow on everyone around you. Phrases like, "I won't be here much longer," or "What's the point at my age?" may feel honest, but they leave loved ones anxious, sad, and unsure how to respond. Imagine your family gathered for a holiday meal, full of laughter, when suddenly the topic shifts to funeral arrangements or fears about the end. The mood changes instantly. People avoid eye contact, and the energy drops. What was meant as sharing becomes an emotional weight that others quietly carry. Mental health experts point out that constant negative talk about death increases emotional distance, especially in younger family members who don't know how to handle those conversations. Instead of drawing people closer, it can unintentionally push them away. The alternative isn't to ignore mortality, it's to reframe it. Share stories of gratitude, lessons learned, or hopes for the future. Instead of, "I'm not going to be around much longer," try, "I want to make the most of the time I have with you." That small shift transforms fear into connection and sorrow into meaning. By focusing on legacy, love, and memories, you not only ease the burden on your loved ones, you inspire them. The end of life is inevitable, but the way you choose to talk about it can leave behind hope instead of heaviness. We've just walked through 12 habits that may seem small but can quietly damage relationships in older age. Talking too much about illnesses, interfering with loved ones' choices, complaining, not listening, ignoring privacy, focusing on money, rejecting technology, being judgmental, repeating stories, trying to control everything, neglecting appearance, and dwelling on death. These are habits that often go unspoken, yet they leave lasting impressions. The important truth is this: none of these habits define you. They're simply patterns that can be changed. With awareness, patience, and small shifts in daily behavior, you can preserve the warmth of your relationships and create more joyful connections with family and friends. If one of these habits resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please drop a comment below. Just type the word hope if you believe positive change is still possible at any age. And don't forget to subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and share this video with someone you care about. These tips are shared for general awareness. If you're facing any health challenges, be sure to check with your doctor before trying anything new. Here's to living with dignity, laughter, and hope, because every chapter of life can still be beautiful.